just playing well, it doesn't matter tons. It matters when you play well. And this is why you need to practice under pressure. And when you don't perform well under pressure, aka Dallas Cowboys, you need to be asking yourself, okay, what's wrong? Because it's not the talent. Like a lot of people are really talented. And then they fail the second pressure shows up. Your edge isn't everything. Yes, it's important to have an edge. But at the end of the day, if you can't perform when it matters most, then you have to go back to the drawing board. Hey everyone, welcome to the Anarchy Podcast. 99% of traders will never make consistent profits. So why listen to the 99% of advice? On this show, we're going to challenge some of the most hallowed and repeated tenets of trading, and in doing so, set you up to succeed where others fail. Spoiler alert, we don't have a secret strategy or magic wand that will let you skip out on the hard work of learning the markets, but we can debunk viewpoints that are holding you back. If that sounds good to you, come join us.
Hey, everybody, and welcome to the Anarchy Trading Podcast. Since we're in the midst of American football playoffs here and actually getting down to the last four teams, we thought it would be a perfect time to resurrect one of our series from the vault, which essentially relates trading to various sports or activities. So as you can imagine, today we're going to be discussing how does trading and football relate? And with us today to discuss that is our resident football and trading expert, Levi. Levi, what's going on?
Nothing much. Not much of a football expert, but I am a football fan. I've been reminded again why I hate Forex in the last few days because we made a podcast episode like last month on how we hate Forex, and I've been trading a prop firm account. Just started just a few weeks ago. Hadn't traded Forex for a long time, and just started a prop firm because it had a fire sale. So I just hopped on into an account, and I've been trading that, and it's just reminding me why I hate it so much. Just like the wild spread. I just got cut out of a trade today. The wild spreads that happen at market close and the news volatility. It's wild. So I've been banging my head against the wall on that, but kind of enjoying the playoffs. So the way American football, like right now, we're in the final four. Like you said, we got two more games. Like we got the NFC and AFC championships that bring it down to the final two teams that go to the Super Bowl. And so, yeah, I think it's a great time to discuss how, watching football and watching kind of athletes like at the top of their field perform, there's a ton of similarities, like a lot, to how that can relate and lessons you can learn as a trader. And again, a bit of a hammer and nail thing. So now that I'm a trader, I see kind of lessons everywhere. But football is one of those things where there's a lot of similarities. So I have a couple things off the top of my head, and I know you do. So the first thing that Dallas Cowboy fans are going to fully relate to is that playing under pressure is what separates the bad from the great. So the Dallas Cowboys, for anybody who doesn't know, they're one of the best teams in football during the regular season.
They've made it to
In
playoffs
fact,
13 years in a row.
yeah, in fact, you could argue that they are the best team in the regular season, just from stats wise, but they have not gotten to the divisional round of the playoffs since 1990. It's been almost 30 years, which is crazy. It's never happened before. And it happened again this year. They went one and out. They got into the playoffs and they lost the game. And so it's just a reminder. We've had the discussion about playing with skin in the game and practicing with real money, or at least with real stakes, using prop firms or something like that. It was just a great reminder of why just playing well, it doesn't matter tons. It matters when you play well. And this is why you need to practice under pressure. And when you don't perform well under pressure, aka Dallas Cowboys, you need to be asking yourself, okay, what's wrong? Because it's not the talent, right? Like a lot of people are really talented, and a lot of traders have a really good edge. right? So there's a ton of talent. And then they fail the second pressure shows up, the second greed gets in there, the second FOMO gets in there, the second money or skin gets in the game. And so my biggest takeaway here is your edge isn't everything. Yes, it's important to have an edge. But at the end of the day, if you can't perform when it matters most, if you can't perform with pressure, if you can't perform when money's on the line, um, then you have to go back to the drawing board.
It's what made Tom Brady the best quarterback ever to play football,
Yeah,
right?
the GOAT.
Like what differentiated with him? Let's be honest. Regular season playing regular football, okay, he was a good quarterback, but he wasn't
Yeah.
exceptional. What made him different was the fact that he could play just as good or honestly better under pressure than he could normally. And that's what made it doesn't matter if there's 30 seconds left in the game. He could still make the passes. It doesn't matter if it was in the Super Bowl, unless it was against the Giants. He could make the
Yeah.
passes and he could make the passes and he could win those games. And so, yeah, it's definitely what differentiates the men from the boys, so to speak.
Yeah. Yeah. So that was kind of the one that popped in my head first. I know a lot of people spend a lot of time. We talked about this paper trading, and yeah, I think that there's some time for that. But at the end of the day, get in there, start training your psychology. This is talked about a lot. It gets cliche, but at the end of the day, it really is. It comes down to, can you perform under pressure? And day trading is constant pressure, which is why a lot of people actually don't like it. Even if they win, even if they're good, a lot of day traders flame out because it is pressure. Every day you're risking actual real money. So make sure your head game's in the right spot, and work on that aspect. It's not just your edge.
Yeah, for sure. Secondly, I would say another way that it relates is the fact that no one just walks on to a pro team, right? And this is
Mhm.
where all right, we talk about it all the time. Instagram, Facebook, Discord, Twitter, they all make it seem like all you have to do is take a little month boot camp, right? Do you go to a football boot camp for a month and you're playing with the pros? Well, that just is not the case. There's no such thing as anyone who just walks onto a team. Like there might be people who've walked onto a team who were professional soccer players, or should I say football players for the rest of the world, or all our Australian or UK listeners. But the fact is, no one just walks onto a pro team. And it's the same with trading. You do not walk on to becoming a professional trader. Doesn't matter whether you take a month course. People who play professional football have played literally, well, 99.9% of them have literally played since they were probably 4 or 5 years old. And this is something that they have honed over 15 or 20 years. The same relates to trading. The people who are successful at it, most of them, if you listen to, John, who we had on the podcast, 10 years. If you look at a few of the guys that I actually do follow or, have followed in the past on YouTube who are successful, most of them will tell you 3, 4, 5 years. The same goes for trading here. You got to put in the time, rep, and efforts.
Yeah, and this should be encouraging, by the way, because to be a pro football player, you have to be the 0.0001%. Like you have to be the one out of a million people who play football. They're all freaks of nature, not just, putting a bunch of time in. They're all accidents of God that they were able to get in there. There's 400-pound linemen that could literally out sprint me. They could just run me down. Me running in a full sprint. And I'm not crazy slow. I'm reasonably fit. They could just run me down and kill me. So they're all freaks of nature. The positive part about us is that we don't need to be in the top, one out of a million. We have to be one out of 100, one out of 20, right? 1 to 5% of traders are profitable. So you don't have to be the best of the best of the best. You just have to be good and better than 99%. And like you said, nobody walks on. There ain't a free lunch. There's no free lunch. Like that can be discouraging depending on the type of person you are, but it can also be encouraging because all you have to do is put in more work than 95% of people. And if you just do more than 95% of people, man, I get that you're pretty much you're there, right? Not that there's not some techniques or some ideas, but at the end of the day, it's you got to be able to put that time in, you got to put the training in, and there's so many people who don't who think they're just going to magically be in the top 5%, but not put in the top 5% amount of work. And that's just a wrong way of thinking. And that's going to let you down real fast. So, another point that I thought of, which is kind of goes back to some really basic stuff that I think we disagree with the majority of trainers on, is that to know where wide receivers and stuff are going, the defense, the safeties need to watch the play develop. Um, this holds true for traders. So if you just show a safety, if you just show a defensive lineman a snapshot of where the offense is, if you just showed a picture, they'd have a hard time knowing exactly where everything's going. What makes them really good is that they watch the play develop. They watch the play start. They see where everybody's moving. They see where everybody's looking. They watch the twitch of the wide receiver. They watch where their hips are moving, and they see the play develop. And as it develops, the years of experience come in, and they can make a judgment of where things are going next. This is where we kind of disagree with most gurus and why we encourage beginners to trade on lower time frames, because a lot of people end up doing that when they trade on these 1 hour, 4 hour candles. They end up trading, they just see a bunch of snapshots, right? You're not able to watch a 1 hour candle develop because you're just sitting there doing nothing. So people skim between a lot of things and they just see the snapshot of where the market is, and then they take a trade, not knowing that they're missing so much of the information of being able to watch the play develop. And the great thing about trading lower time frames, like the 5 minute, which we mostly trade, is that you can sit and actually watch the chart. You can watch it develop. You can watch it move. You can see where the candle's going and how fast it's going, the momentum of where it's traveling and how things, and it trains your brain in a way that just looking at a picture of a chart just doesn't do it. It just doesn't do it the same way. And this is something that, again, we disagree with on a lot, but I think this applies you can get this from football. Snapshots aren't the same as watching the actual market develop. So in our estimation, our advice, lower those timeframes, guys. Lower the timeframes, watch the market, pick one or two pairs, sit down in front of your computer and actually watch the play, watch the market develop. It's going to make you grow a lot faster.
Yeah, absolutely. You got to put in those time. And that's why, honestly, that's probably, it's not one of the reasons because it's a smaller pool, but there's a reason why college football teams are nowhere near the experience of the pro football teams, right? So you take the
Right.
best college football team, the best, and you put them against the worst NFL team, they will still get blown out by the NFL team. It's not even competitive. It's not even close because
Right.
it's because those pros have put in significantly more time, effort, experience, and are probably bigger, faster, more skilled in the meantime than the college guys. And kind of relates to trading as well, right? Like the more time you put in, that's why the pros are pros for a reason. They put in that time and effort that the college guys still haven't put in yet.
Yeah, they watch a bunch of they're both they experience more plays, right? Because they played longer, but they also watch a bunch of tape, right? They go in they to be successful, and we are in playoff football in the US. It's far more now. It's when you're in the postseason playing in the playoffs, American football, you're one and done. Like you lose a game, you're out for the season, which is a little bit unique for a lot of sports. It's really important to watch tape and develop a game plan. And that's a part that I think is underappreciated. Like being able to know what your strategy is, know how the market, know what your strategy is good in, and be able to adjust as necessary. And I think like especially new, beginning traders have a really hard time adjusting. Like, so they have a strategy that kind of works, but it's like hammer and nail again. They have a strategy, and so they just apply it all the time. And so they have a really hard time kind of adjusting. And that's why you need to watch a bunch of tape. You need to be able to sit down in front of your computer, put 2 hours a day in, like we say, put 2 hours a day and that can help you develop that skill that you don't get any other way.
Yeah, absolutely. The only way you get good at anything, whether it's football or trading, is by putting in a lot of time, coming up with a plan, and then finally, finding someone to, finding a coach. All professional players have coaches or mentors, right? Now, this doesn't have to be someone you pay. Like this can literally be a friend that is there to support you, right? But find a coach, find a mentor, find that one or two people that can support you in your journey, right? Like the football players, I guarantee you, they don't have a Discord group for football players where they talk about, well, when I see this position, then that means that the safety's, that the safety's going to come under. I need to play over. No, 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 no. They don't. They have a coach and they listen to that coach and they support each other as a team. So same thing with trading. Find that team, very close-knit team that you work together with, one or two people. Start putting in the time. And just like Levi said, football players, you have to be one in a million. Trading, if you're listening to this podcast, honestly, you're probably already in that 5 or 10%, which is all you need to be a winner. So keep putting in the time, and the stats are in your favor.